We are still live, though. So, hey, here to talk to you about life, love, the car business, and everything in between with the fixed ops specialists from JDI Coaching. G-Man and Coach Jay. What's up, you guys?
What's going on, buddy?
Uh,
What's going downtown, Julie Brown?
You guys look like you're back home. No more Shreveport.
No more Shreveport.
No more Shreveport.
No.
Yeah.
Quick stop and then off to the next one.
Yeah, I'm in Missouri and he's out in Boston.
Oh, Missouri.
Missouri.
Mhm.
I'm still not with that Missouri thing.
That's how the locals say it, bro.
Yeah,
Missouri.
It's just I don't believe
So
it.
does it get you any cred, though, because of nothing else that you say sounds like Southern?
No, I
does
look
it help
like a
you at all?
California dork trying to be Midwestern. That's what it is. I'm a tourist. They weed me out right away.
They know. They totally
They know. They can smell it on me.
What are you smoking there, speaking of smells?
I got a Monte Cristo Classic Series.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you celebrating, or is that your regular smoke there?
This is a regular. This is a staple. I like
Really?
this one. Light wrapper. It's easy. It doesn't, it's not too harsh. You can smoke this and walk
Wow.
around. You don't get dizzy and fall over.
It's not easy on the wallet, though, man. That's a quality smoke
No.
right there.
No, but if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it
Might
right.
as well go big.
Are you like a once a day cigar, like once a week, once a month? What do we?
I was at 2 a day, and now I'm down
Whoa.
to a couple a week now. So
Couple a week.
Yeah.
Bro's got
My
a
wife-
mortgage payment in cigars. That's fantastic.
Living that Jordan level.
Wow. No kidding. Apparently he smoked a lot of cigars too. I haven't seen that yet. Is
Yeah.
that good, Brett?
Seven a day.
Seven
Seven.
cigars a
Wow.
day?
Who smokes
While
seven a
he
day?
was the best basketball player on the planet.
God dang.
I didn't care, man.
What? I'm drinking beer tonight. Two Hearted in honor of Michigan.
I'm drinking an old fashioned.
Oh,
I like. You know what? I really
Old fashioned. Cheers.
I love how we went back into this like evening thing. Like I remember our very first show, we were talking about, oh, we should do an after hours show. Now you freaking went to the after hours show.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah,
The
so
after our show got crazy though. We were like 4 or 5 beers deep in an hour.
Well, hey. Now,
It all of a
now
sudden
we're-
becomes gibberish.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. All right, guys. So we got some people on here, right?
Yeah,
So today we're going to talk about some fixed op stuff. Ben, thank you again for hosting us.
Yeah,
and having
always-
us here.
so for those of you who don't know what the show is, this is just a hangout. Brett and I are members of the
Yeah.
group. We're both pre-owned sales managers, and we just want to hang out and talk to you guys about the car business. Nobody's
Yeah.
getting paid here. We don't have advertisements. This is just like a little basement, Facebook Live setup. So we got these guys here, and they're the fixed ops experts. And as much as we love sales, we learn things about fixed ops that helps us as well. So we figured, and there's a lot of fixed ops people in the group. So what do you got? What do you want to talk
Yeah.
about?
Well, I think one of the things that we've been talking about is that everybody's going back into the flow of things, and we were talking weeks ago about how things are slowly going to start opening up. This could be the best May ever. This could be something that could be impactful and record breaking or whatever. And the thing that we started introducing, and this is our second week into it, is literally going back to the basics. What are the basics? What are the basic steps that you take in your fixed ops departments to focus on in order for you to get yourself ramped back up? I mean, we were in such a fear mode, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? We got to figure this out. But some people took advantage of it and like really, I guess, sharpened their knives, sharpened their blade, and other people just crumbled. And so what we did is we said, hey, when you're getting back into the flow of things, it's fine. It's the time to truly identify where your opportunities lie, right? Who are your players? Rate your players. Are they sevens that you can make tens? Are they fours that are going to just always be fours? What are the expectations you're going to put forth with your people to get your flow back into play and actually become super profitable? And right now, man, it's buyer's market like crazy. Buyer's market for, I guess, our customers, and a buyer's market for us too to run our departments. We're looking for top quality people that really want to be producers, right?
Yeah, I think that's the thing coming out of this thing is there's a lot of good people floating out there, advisors and techs, and if you have work coming in, you're kind of in the catbird seat and you can pick and choose, but this is the time to take action. And it's funny you're talking about, rating your people. And we were having that conversation today. I was working with a group this afternoon, and one of the things that we're talking about is, 8, 9s, and 10s, and what are those? And then 7s and below, what are those? And like a 10 leader is already thinking about what the next step is. You don't have to tell him. He's looking at the metrics. He's 2 steps ahead of you before you ever even get there. He's already looking towards the future. And an 8 is somebody that you're giving information to, and they're going off and they're doing it, but they need a little bit of direction. You got to feed them a little bit, give them a little bit of information. They'll go off and run. And then or that's a 9. And then an 8 is like a golden retriever. You throw the ball and they bring it back. And then you throw the ball and they bring it back. And you have to just keep throwing the ball, but they'll do the task every single time. And so those 8s, 9s, and 10s, that's really what you're looking for. I mean, 10 obviously is the premier. And then the 7s and below, it's just like you have to question, whether or not they have a seat on your bus, right? And then I think right now is the time to really evaluate that. Do you have the right people? Do they believe in you? Are they running with you?
Now, when you guys are evaluating or helping people evaluate, if somebody is a 4, 5, 6, 7, or a 3, what are you recommending to these businesses? Hey, train them up and really hope that they can get to that next level. Or like you said, there are a lot of people that aren't happy with their business, aren't happy with the way their owners treated them. Are you out there trying to, sign some free agents?
Yeah, for sure. And so that's the thing is when we go into stores and we talk to managers and we tell them to rate their people, the people that we see as 4 and 5s, most consultants would say, oh, well, those guys are horrible producers. They're never going to get it. Just get rid of them and move on and try to get some superstars. But the truth of the matter is with the way our approach is understanding the way they see things. And so what we do is we interview them and we go, hey, man, I want to get to know who you are. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I get them to open up. And then we identify that the underlying problem is just like what you said, Brett. They've been mistreated. They've been misunderstood. They really don't understand what the expectations are. They really don't know what the goals are supposed to be. You'd be blown away, man. Like, I'm not kidding. We had an advisor the other day that said to us, is like, look, man, I hope this is a really safe place. I said, yeah. He goes, I have no idea what gross profit is, but I know that I'm paid by it. I'm like, what the fuck? That was like mind blowing to me. I'm like, holy cow, man. How long you been working here? Oh, I've been here for 7 months, man. But like, my paychecks really suck. And these guys are really pushing me, but I have no clue how to really work my pay plan.
What is this gross they speak of?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Gross.
What does that mean?
Yeah, dude, but the thing is, you talk to the managers, guys, that guy sucks, man. I'm going to get rid of that dude. If he's worthless and he has no clue and he doesn't have motivation. And I talk to him or we talk to him and it's like, yeah, man, I don't know how I get paid. I'm like, holy cow, dude.
So
out of here.
That's such a funny example of like being afraid to ask a stupid question.
Right.
When and how much that can hold you back. Like there was one point, I'm not going to tell you when this was, but I should have known the answer to this question. And I had to circle back and ask somebody, I'm the pre-owned sales manager, mind you. I had to circle back and ask somebody like, who certifies the cars again? Is that me? Do I click the button or do they do that in the office? They're like, no, they do that in the office. All right. That's what I thought. I just wanted to double check.
Well, you came from Forward. You have to do everything.
Right.
That's where I'm at now.
Right. And so I stepped in and it's just all rolling. And I had this freak out moment like 3 months in. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on.
I haven't certified any cars yet.
Right. Yeah.
You got 10 certified cars before you ask that question, right? You're like, I think those cars, maybe we missed something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it worked out okay, but.
Yeah. So I got a question for you guys, kind of still spinning off the ranking thing, because I find it pretty interesting. When you hire like a fresh young, or a store hires a fresh young salesperson and or service advisor or tech, where do you think somebody that's just coming in, what number they come in at? And then do you have to kind of look at it and say, hey, this guy is a 3 right now, but he's super young. He works hard. Can I get him up to a 7, 8, 9, 10? What's kind of your perspective on that?
So the way that I see it, and this is just me, G-Man probably be looking at it, is I base it on their attitude. Okay. I tell their number coming in is where am I going to rank this dude based on his attitude and his ability to want to learn, to be the absorber? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know, if he's all gung ho and good and he wants to like make change and do things and make things happen and stuff like that, I'm like, all right, cool. This guy could probably walk in as a 6 and I can build him to a 10 because he doesn't know anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But 9 out of 10 times, Brett, I deal with people that like think they know everything already. Like, man, I've been in this business for 9 years.
Well, that's how it is on our end too, right? You can't you have the world's most amazing training meeting, and you're like, well, what? Yeah, afterwards, what do you guys think? And everybody's like, it was good, it was okay. Like,
yeah.
Heard it.
Literally, I just blew your mind. Like, you learned something you've never heard this before, and you're like, like, what needs to happen for this to be an amazing meeting,
dude?
Yeah,
we go with that all the time. You know, one time we did a training, and this guy who's supposed to be all and mighty. I mean, the guy has a freaking head the size of the planet, and he's like, so his manager's like, so what did you think about the training? He's like, man, I actually feel dumber after going to that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, thanks for the feedback. What would you have done different? Well, man, you know, I really would have focused more on this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, where do you rank among your peers? Oh, you're in 10th place. Yeah, you suck. You suck. That's what you say. Don't talk to me, bro. Like, you suck.
That's human nature, though, right? I think that's one of the biggest, I don't know, hurdles for human beings is this status quo bias of like, it's good enough. Why should I change something that's working? I'm doing fine.
Well, people don't hunger for knowledge too. I think that's the thing. Like for us, like we're out there training, you know, advisors and managers and trying to teach them how to be profitable. But at the same time, we're also out there learning. Like we want to constantly be learning. We're looking for somebody to mentor us. I'm looking for a coach for myself.
Right.
And it's because I'm always trying to get better. And I think just the general public, they just don't feel that way. And so their ego gets in the way and says, okay, well, I know that already. I've heard that. I've heard somebody tell me that. That's not new information. But meanwhile, there's a morsel in there they could take and be better, and they just choose to look away. And I think it's sad, honestly. It's really sad.
Do you think that's like the one, if you had to get it down to one difference between like regular average performers and like people who are on the high end of the performance spectrum, would that be the thing? Is just like the humility to constantly improve?
I think so. And I think...
And it is humility, right?
Absolutely.
That's the defining thing.
So that's what I was going to say. If, you know, back to your question, Brett, like what do we look for when a new employee comes in? Is hungry, humble, smart. That's what I'm looking for. Is he hungry? Does he want to go out and kill something? Is he humble enough for me to teach him? And is he smart enough to take it in? That's it. Hungry, humble, smart.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with you guys. And I think kind of another thing that you got to add in there is the willing to be competitive too. Like so many people, like, I think just for like me, and I know Ben, it doesn't seem like he's super competitive, but he is deep down. Like you got to want to be the best or be better than somebody else. And that goes through hard work, learning, and being smart.
Yeah. And you got to look out and go, wow, that guy sold 10 cars. What can I do? I've only got 5 out. What can I do? And what did he do different than I do? Even
as a young salesperson, like I wouldn't be mad that somebody else sold a car, but I'd be like, dang, he got one. Now I got to get one today. No, I got to get 2. I got to be better than this person. Mm-hmm. I think that just is what some people are wired different that way.
I don't like that. I don't like the head-to-head competition. I don't like the this then that. I want to pretend like I don't care and then be the dark horse that just sweeps past at the end. Everybody's like, how the hell did Ben get here? Where did he come from?
I put $100 bill down right now that Ben knows how many cars the new car department has and if he's winning or not. Yeah. I just have it right on the table.
Let's hear it, Ben.
I'm 4 behind.
He knew already because he wants to beat the new car
So my
department.
problem is, I'm going to go real deep with this for just a second, because my problem is like wanting to win, but like secretly getting excited when other people suck.
Yeah.
And like, I have to work on that as a person, right? It's like, okay, I don't win by other people failing. Like I win because I'm just that good.
Yeah.
You know, hey, have you guys been watching I mean, you mentioned earlier, Brett, you guys have been watching the Michael Jordan thing, right?
Yeah. The Last Dance.
Yeah. The Last Dance, right? So have you watched it, Ben?
No.
All right. Well, it's outstanding. And don't worry, Gary hasn't watched it either. So, but Brett, you're going to relate to this, dude. I'm not Michael Jordan, but I have the Michael Jordan mindset. Like once you get to me, like once you piss me off, I'm going to annihilate you. Like when I was an advisor, and Gary knows this, man. Gary knows it. When I turned that thing on, bro, it was I'm like, you just stepped on some shit because I'm about to rip you to pieces. I'm about to turn it on, bro. And that's how I am, because I'm super competitive too. And I hate that. And the other thing I hate the most, which is a hot button for me, and Gary knows this too, is if you accuse me of something that I absolutely did not do. Like, oh, this guy's a cheater and he lied and he messed up, he inflated the deal and I'm like, bro, really? Really? Okay.
I've never heard that. I've literally never heard that before about
Yeah. So there's a lot of really good things out of The Last Dance. And the one thing I want to just kind of mention, that anybody can talk shit when they're winning. You got to respect the guy that talks shit 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So if I'm losing, I'm like, hey, I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
So there's something that kind of struck home to me on that too. Like, I talk shit all the time.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine. And you're going to have down times and you're going to have things where you fall. But if you come back, man, shoot, that's the best.
So
keep it.
I got to tell you this story. It's, it's winter like half the year in Michigan. Like every other month, it's like, snowy winter. The salespeople have to go out and clean off the cars. And every once in a while, we have a plow day where we got to move all the cars and plow the whole lot and then park everything back. And so Brett's like yipping at me, like he wants to wrestle me, like he can take me down. Wants to wrestle me in the snowy parking lot and take me down. I'm
like 3 or 4 years ago.
So he gets all in on this thing, and the only reason he's doing it is because if he knows he's going to lose, but if he loses, he can just be like, well, I never was going to win, obviously. But on the outside chance that he does like drop my leg or something and get me on the ground, that he'll be like, I knew it the whole time, like, because it's like that much better because he was talking shit the whole time, and then it turned out he was right. But I just body slammed him and it was over.
No. See, now I got to go back to talking shit. I had like a nice single leg hook or takedown going. And I had this dude backpedaling and I almost took him down. And he literally just dead weighted over the top of me.
Like, that's how I win. I'm heavier than you. That is a move.
I had him. I was so close.
So do you guys feel like now we're getting into the time when the sale is going to be harder than ever?
It does feel like it's tightening up a little bit. I think that you have to be, I think that anybody who was a little bit passive about how they were approaching the sale, regardless of whether it's in the sales department or the service department, I think you have to tee things up right. You got to greet people right. You got to interact with them correctly. And I think it's going to weed out some of the weakness in our industry. And I think that's okay. But I think the strong will continue to survive. We've been seeing that, like the strong advisors that are in our group, like they are achieving over and above where they were before. And the weak ones are way below where they were. And you can just smell it on them. It's separating the strong from the weak for sure.
It's like at first everybody was excited that we could do business. They're like, okay, good. You can transact. Yeah, perfect. Right. Mm-hmm. And they weren't negotiating the price. They weren't pressing us on stuff. And now it's like they're shopping more than ever. It seems like, right. They're looking for we talked about this, the COVID deal, but like, I just feel like we're going into the time and the fact that you're strong are separating themselves. The divide is even greater right now, kind of proves what I'm thinking is that now is more important than ever to do the basics really well. Right.
Yeah. And that's been our mantra with all our clients this entire month as we really wanted to try to make May the best month that they've ever had. And it's like, it's getting back to basics. Let's go back to blocking and tackling. Let's go back to drills and let's just start over. This is how you handle a customer. This is how you talk to them. This is how you greet them. And so we've been doing walk around training. Guys have done walk around training since the 1950s and they're still hearing about it today because, it's just a basic thing that you got to do. You can't get away from it. And I believe it's that difference right there. It's that time you spend with the client before you ever, in the service department, at least before you ever get them to the desk is really what makes a difference between whether you're going to be successful or not.
So it's interesting. I want to ask you a philosophical question. We talked about this before, but like the law of the line, I call it. Okay. So whatever the big ask is, whatever that moment is, after the big ask, there is no productive closing conversation for topics that haven't already been addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys find that in service? Like, so whenever, just to take it one level deeper, right? Whatever the moment is when you're saying, hey, this is what it's going to cost, press hard 2 copies, give me your credit card. That's the moment. So whatever comes up after that, if it hasn't already been addressed, you just sound like a salesperson, right? And it doesn't get through to the customer. But if you've mentioned it ahead of time, like in your walk around, or you've planted that seed of like, this is going to be part of the conversation, then it's sort of a natural flow to refer back to things. And it allows you to continue the closing conversation in a productive way that lets you ask for the business like over and over again.
So that's exactly the way we teach that. It's we call it setting the frame or setting expectations. And so there's the greeting, and then you transition into setting the frame. And setting the frame is basically like, hey, look, I'm going to get a little information off your vehicle, your VIN, your miles, and then you and I will do a quick walk around the car, and then we'll go back to my desk and see what your car's due for. And does that sound fair enough? Guy says, yeah. Then when I look at their miles, it's like, hey, looks like you might be due for some maintenance. When we go back, we'll take a look at that. And then during the walk, so I'm already teeing him up that he might need some maintenance, whether I know it or not. Then as we're doing the walk around, I'm going to the tires. And at tires, you're almost every time you're going to need an alignment. And so we're teeing that up by looking at the tires. Oh, you got a little feathering. When we go back to my desk, we'll take a look and see the last time you had an alignment.
Right.
Or he's got brand new tires and he really needs one because we don't want to wear them out, or they're worn out. I'm going to give you an estimate. So it's one of those 3 things. But so then you're dropping that seed with no price, no number. Then when you get back to the desk, if you've done a good job communicating with them through that whole process, they're expecting to hear all this stuff. What maintenance am I due for? How much is that alignment going to be? How much are my tires? Like, you've already kind of teed it up. And then when you drop the close, then that's it. It's like, it's going to be, you need this, this, and this. It's going to be this much, and I can have it done by 5 o'clock.
Right.
And that's it.
So what kind of objections do you guys hear on the service end?
Oh, it's always the same. Don't have time.
Yep.
Don't have money. What's the last one? I just don't
Trust.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's either they say no,
I have my own
right?
mechanic. I have my own mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my cousin's uncle's sister's dog's grandparent, veterinarian, is the one that I go to for everything that I need.
Yeah. This is money, time, trust. That's it. So it's like, I can't afford it, which is fine. We can work with that, because there's things you need brakes. You need brakes. Like,
right.
That's just but maybe you don't need these other things, and we can do this next time. And then when you do that, you become a trusted advisor. And then if they don't have time, take the time objection away. I get you a loaner, I get you a ride. We got Lyft, we got Uber. What do you need? How can I make this work for you? And then if it's trust, you don't really have an angle. So on the sales side, I think it's, you want to ask again. You want to have a closer come in. You want to have a manager up a customer before he walks out the door. With a service customer, he's coming back. He's going to be back for that next oil change. So I don't have to put that pressure on him. And so if I haven't done a good job of building trust, and it's just no, I don't trust you, then at that point, or I need a second opinion, or I got to talk to my wife. Basically, they're just telling you in a certain way. They don't trust what you're telling them. And so at that point, we just back off. It's a soft close. And it's like, okay, well, next time you come see me, we're going to have a conversation about that. Today, I'll get your oil change done. And then he comes back for his next oil change. We take another swing at it.
Yeah. You feel like if you ask again, like say, hey, I get that.
So can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Ben?
Yeah.
And Brett? So what is this whole thing where a lot of, I guess I'm generalizing it, but we've seen a lot of approaches from sales trainers where, like, because I've heard this from just friends of mine that have been salespeople, right? Go, oh yeah, man, you got to ask for the same thing 5 times. And I'm like, holy shit, you can't do that in service, man. Like, are you kidding me? You'll get slapped, you'll get beat, you'll get hit over the head, you'll get run over by a car. Like, you can't ask the same thing. Like, you want an alignment? Do you want an alignment? Do you want an alignment? Do you want like, you gotta ask 5 times. It's like, dude, don't ever do that. But is that something that it's just from like the 1980s? Is that the way? Tell me where that comes from, because I've always wanted to know.
Do you want to go, Ben?
I'll let you go first, and then I'll mop up whatever mess you make of it.
So yeah, we want to ask for the sale. but it's not like blatantly asking, hey, buy this, hey, buy this, hey, buy this.
Okay.
What I like to do and what Ben likes to do is we like to get the customer in the right frame of mind, and we do that by asking yes questions. So we build up a lot of yeses, because yes is positive, right? Hey, this drive's really nice. Yes. Hey, these heated seats are really nice, aren't they? Wouldn't it be great in the winter? Yes, 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 yes. And we want to, what is it, Ben? 100 yeses?
I don't know. I don't know how many yeses it takes. The more, the better. Well,
Yeah.
but some of them are easy, Ross. Sure, it's a nice day to be out looking at cars, isn't it?
Right.
Yup, there's your first one. Okay.
That's always my first greeting to a customer when I was a salesperson is, hey man, it's a beautiful day out, isn't it? Yes. So we try to get those yeses, and I think you could actually do that in service. I know you're kind of in a dingy shop sometimes, but I think you get some positive yeses.
And then so it's kind of a longer conversation, right? It's like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And so like, if you stop in at a friend's house to like drop something off and it's a quick interaction, your little goodbye like doesn't really last very long. But if you've been at somebody's house hanging out for 3 hours, there's kind of like you get the coat on, then you get the shoes, then you're kind of like moving toward the door, and then you're kind of in the entryway and you're still talking, and you're kind of like, that's how it is in sales. It's like, because of the gravity of the social interaction, there's kind of an extended goodbye. And that's, for us, the reason they're not saying yes is because they haven't bought into one of the 5 pillars, right? They don't think they need to make a change. They don't need to think they need to do it now. They don't really want to spend the money on this. They'd rather spend it on something else. They don't think maybe they're going to buy the car here at this dealership, or there's something about the vehicle that isn't right. And so we're just trying to keep that conversation alive. So it's amazing how many times somebody will be like, I got to think about it. You're like, okay, and they'll kind of just stay there and chat, and you'll just keep chatting. And it's like it circles back around. And then you'd be like, I got to tell you, I know you said you need to give it some thought. I would too. It's a big deal, blah, 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 whatever. Given all that, I mean, are you sure you don't just want to go for it? I mean, it seems like everything's falling in line. And then they're like, yeah, I don't know. I gotta think about this. I gotta look into that. And then that you talk a little more, and then you come back around and you're like, yeah, but really you like the car, right? I mean, you liked us. The money's pretty much in line. I mean, it does everything you need. How about you go ahead and get it? So that's another ask. And so you can ask 5 or 6 times over the course of 20 minutes. And
while you're doing that, you're talking to them about things that either they like, or you're getting them in a positive state of mind. So they say no, positive, 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 positive.
Like, ask, are you sure?
Positive, 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 and just keep kind of going around.
So, and that's why the law of the line is so important, because if you don't hit all those 5 reference points before the financial proposal, then you have nothing left to talk about, right? If they're going to go shop another brand and you've already talked about it and they say they need to think about it and go look at the other brand, then over here you can be like, I know you said you need to do that, but this one does have this and that fits your needs. The money's pretty much in line. You like us. And, is there a number on the page that works? I mean, given all that, do you really have to go see that other car? Like, you can go ahead and get it, right? If we've already talked about it, we can talk about it in closing. If we haven't talked about it, then we're just a scumbag salesman trying to close the deal. So I think a service advisor could ask twice. I think twice would be okay, right? Like, here's your initial, I'm checking you out. This is your estimate. I don't have the time, and I don't have well, we can give you a loaner. Okay, yeah, but I really can't afford all that right now. Okay, well, how about this and this? These are the essentials. You can come back for these other things.
Yeah,
okay?
no, that's
and then kind of,
definitely
but then as you're doing the next thing, you're writing it up. You're continuing to chat. It's like, hey, one more, like, let me just ask you one more time, because we looked at the tires, and I just want to remind you, like, there was some feathering there. It might seem like a lot of money now, but it might save you something in the long run by pushing out your next set of tires. Are you sure you don't want to? I mean, what if I get you a $5 off coupon and we throw that on there? And you sure you don't want to just put that on here? And it gives the customer, it's natural because you've already brought it up, so you're allowed to kind of ask again, and then it gives you one more opportunity than them to say. And you'd be amazed, I bet, how many times. Maybe you guys do this, I don't know, but you'd be amazed how many times on the 3rd or 4th yes for us, people are like, you know what, you're right.
Just do it.
Let's
go.
No,
that does happen.
Let's do
it.
Does
happen. Just get it done.
Yeah.
How long? If just
all right,
just do it.
Just do it. But sometimes you don't get that until you ask again.
Yeah. What do you guys think about, because one thing that we've always struggled with in our business is that collaboration between sales and service when you have a TO, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's interesting that somebody put it on here. I saw a comment a second ago. Dylan says the other objection I get is I'm trading it in soon. So like when we get that, like, oh, I'm going to turn it in soon. I don't need those tires. I'm about to trade it in. That transition relationship where you can TO it to somebody in the sales department, I've always said is critically important, but there's always been like this weird relationship between both of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you guys tell your salespeople like, hey man, you need to go make friends in service, man?
Yeah.
You need to go make friends over there.
Yeah.
That could be a good, lead for you.
Salespeople and service people, sales and service need to just come together about the fact that we're all selling. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of this 100%. Attitude of like, well, you're a salesman. What we do is, this has more gravity. Like this is more necessary. You're just doing your salesman stuff. It's like, all right, let's all just get on the same page about the fact that we're all selling. Okay.
That's 100% right.
All right. Sometimes we're serving a dire need and sometimes we're serving up extras.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I heard somebody say, you're in the service department. The used car department is your best customer. And I was like, well, we have one customer. That's the guy that's buying the car. That's the end user. Like we all work under the same roof. I think, we change money from pocket to pocket inside that building. But at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same end. We want to put Joe Blow in the car. We want that guy to come back and buy service. It's like, we should all be thinking the same thing.
Right.
It shouldn't be siloing.
So, and there's an awkwardness in that the advisor has their process. They have their sales, their thing going, right? And you don't want to bring in a salesperson who's going to screw that up, right? Like you never walk into a salesperson's office when they're closing. You just don't do it, right? It just doesn't happen. When they're in the finance office, you never interrupt a delivery in the finance office. And there's certain situations, I'm sure, where as an advisor, you're in the flow, you have the rapport, you're getting ready for the big ask, and you wouldn't want any interruption there. And like salespeople have had their heads bitten off for getting in the way. And so they're kind of not going to like insert themselves necessarily. And so it's really got to be on the advisor to see the value in continuing that relationship. Right.
Yeah. For us in the service department, it's the freaking, I almost said the F word, but it's freaking because it's so I'm passionate about it. It's the shuttle driver. The son of a bitch walks up and goes, hey, we need a shuttle? And I'm like, I'm about to close this deal, motherfucker. Hold on. Like, you can wait 5. Get back in the van, man. Dang it. Oh, yeah. And then the customer said, oh, yeah, I got to go. Call me.
You're like, son of a bitch.
This guy was about to sign right here.
Yeah.
And
the shuttle driver goes, I'm leaving right now. I'm leaving.
I'm like, you know what, dude? You know what? I've walked.
Yes, you are leaving. Here are your walking papers.
Dude,
go.
There was this one guy, Doug, that hated me because I'd be the one going to him like, bro, I'm going to tell you right now, if you walk up, he's like, oh, well, my job is to get these people where they need to go in time. I'm like, well, guess what my job is? My job is to sell. Right. So stay away from me.
You don't have a job without me.
Yeah. Exactly. My job is to make sure you have a job. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think it's got to be a relationship thing where there's an understanding of like, hey, I'll bring you in. And salespeople, man, they love to just get on their high horse about like, we have this with BDC leads all the time, right? The BDC sets an appointment, the customer comes in, it's over and they didn't buy a car and the salesperson's like, well, they didn't even want to buy a car. Like, well, that wasn't the point of getting them in here. Getting them in here was trying to figure that out. It's like, so if you serve them up an opportunity that's less than, a lot of times it's like, well, I don't want to bring them to me when they're ready to buy, Like when they're ready to buy and they want to make the time to sit down, like that's what I do. They want to feel respected and valued. And so they don't want to kind of slide in sideways on somebody else's whatever and try to pick up some scraps because we got some pride, you know what I mean? So I think, right, a little bit of collaboration, a little bit of mutual understanding and some teamwork and some healthy dose of humility is what makes this thing go. And it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, the lease is coming up. There's got to be like a reason. Let's think of what it is. There has to be like a hook. I
think it's most of the time is just don't trust you. So the way we train it is
I'm about to trade it in though. Like how would you tee that up? Don't do that. I'm about to trade it in. Bing. First of all, there's a thing. So what's the next thing after that?
Great. What are you looking at? You want to get bigger? You want to go smaller? You trying to stay at the same price point? What do you want so I can best navigate you? And let me tell you something, man. You got to see if you want to deal with somebody
but now
I
you're
would
selling.
trust.
Now you're
I
selling
would give
though.
it to that guy.
Right now you're selling.
I would go see that guy.
Don't you think? They're like, no, I didn't come here to do that today. Do people sell cars that way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, dude. There was a guy. So we used to get a bird dog fee of like $100, and there was a couple of sales guys said, "Hey, bro, listen. If I make good gross on any car you turn over, I'll give you $500, up to $500.
Oh, wow.
At least $200. I'll double the bird dog because they're gonna pay you the 100, and I'll pay you the 100. But if I get some good gross on this sale, bro, you'll get the 100, and I'll give you $500 more." And I was like, "Holy God!" There was a guy at our BMW store, Karosh.
Yeah,
Remember
Koresh.
Karosh, bro?
Mhm.
That dude would sell every single M car, and I was like the M guy because I had an M3 and an M5 and stuff. And so anytime I get a customer, he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking at the new one." I go, "Oh, let me get that Karosh." Karosh over there, he's like, "Hey, bro, hey, absolutely." He's like, he come back, he's like, "I closed that deal, bro. I got 5 on that right there. I'm gonna give you $500." I'm like, boom,
Woo!
sold.
See,
That
that
dude,
creates
I
some
made that
excitement.
all day long, dude.
Yeah.
I was loving it. I
Yeah.
gave everybody to him. I was like, "Yeah, you want a new M? You want a new whatever? Yeah, go X5. Go over there. Go talk to Kuroshi, man. He'll hook you up for sure."
Mhm.
Yeah. See, I guess I was thinking it'd need to be like sneakier than that. You know, like I was going down the path of like, you know, hey, since you mentioned that you might be trading it in soon, like, why don't I do this before you go? You know, I'm trying to play it out in my head here. You know, a lot of times the best cars that come in are sold right away. They never even hit the internet. Everybody's got a list of people they're going to call when this one car hits the lot. If we kind of know like when approximately you're going to be in the market and what you're going to be looking for, you know, we can call ahead of time. What, you shaking your head, Brett? You don't like that one?
Yeah. You're going way too deep into it, man.
See, right.
So
That's why I'm asking you guys, right?
The easiest thing
So
is
then
number
it's like,
one-
let me introduce you to somebody who can take your information, figure out what it is you're going to be in the market for, and connect with you at that time. So it's clear. It's like it's not going to happen now, but we start that conversation. What do you
You're
think?
going too deep. So the easiest thing, and this is coming from the salesperson side, is that when I first started, I found my dude in the service lane. You got to find who the heavy hitter is.
I agree with that.
I can tell you who it is right now for me. There's a guy named Herb Jackson at our Chevy store. Dude's been there 35 years. His book of business is huge. So anytime I had somebody that I knew needed service work, hey, let me get you over to Herb. Herb will hook you up. Hey, let me get you to Herb. Let me get you to Herb. So I'm sending Herb stuff from the sales side. I sent my mom to Herb. I sent my dad, my grandpa, everybody to Herb. Then in return, when Herb had, family members that wanted to buy a car, hey, Brett, I got this for you. Same thing. He'd call up, hey, I got a guy who's doing a 35-minute oil change. And that's the best time to do it, right? They're going to be at the store for 35 minutes doing absolutely nothing, right? Sitting in the lounge, twiddling their thumbs. Hey, I know you kind of passed on this stuff because you're thinking about trading your car in soon. Why don't I get you with a salesperson? So instead of staying in our lounge, you go up there, just chat with them for a little bit. Maybe they can figure out what you're looking for and just kind of start the process that way. Those people are sitting there doing nothing. They want to drive cool new cars.
Yeah, and so I agree with you
Jay.
on
Let me jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
So I was at a Dodge store recently, and we did a lot more of that than any other dealer that I'd ever been at. And so we came up with a process, because the thing you got to think about is we're dehorsing them. So whether they're waiting in the lounge or they're going home, we've got their car. And so that's an advantage. And so we don't want to press in on them. And so the idea was, you're going to trade it in. No worries. Have you had the car evaluated? Did somebody give you an appraisal? We offer free appraisal here. Your car's going to be here anyways. I'll have one of my guys do an appraisal on it for you. And so that starts the conversation, because now they're expecting somebody to call them with an appraisal. And it's a softer sell. It's like, hey, I'm going to do this for you as a courtesy. We're going to take care of this. Or if it's a lease, guys like, I'm leasing the car and I'm just about to turn the car in. What we would tell them is, really? Have you had your pre-lease inspection yet? And he's like, pre-lease inspection? Yeah. What's that? Well, you want to make sure you're covered, because there's certain expenses that come up when you turn a lease in. Sure. We want to make sure you're not going to incur any undue expense. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take care of this for you. I'm going to have somebody do a pre-lease inspection for you. And again, now he's expecting somebody to call him with the results of that. And so you're just basically teeing up the conversation, and then it's up to the sales department, and they would close, probably 60, 70% of those they would close.
Right. you're the dude that's confusing the hell out of the customer. Pre-lease inspection coming up to sales. Hey, I need a pre-lease inspection.
Right.
Everyone's looking at him like, what are you talking about, man?
Well, so we do those in service. We do the pre-lease inspection for them. Because if they had any warranty, or if they had warranty maintenance or a maintenance package, we could strip the maintenance and any warranty repairs off of it before it ever got traded in as a used car.
Yeah, so we always try to find ways to especially with the leases, we always wanted to work that out, and we had a good relationship with the sales department because remember, once the car's traded in, you have to pay for all the recon, right? For everything. So we were like, oh yeah, let us check it out. We'll check everything out from you top to bottom, and anything I get covered under warranty before you trade it in, so you don't get hit with anything. And then it would always be of help that way. Another thing too is because of my relationship with Karosh is I always told him straight up, I'm like, look, bro, anybody that comes in that's fairly decent, then I'm going to give him an estimate of over 3,500 or $4,000. I'll pitch over to you. So that was a deal, but you got to give me top money for that, because then I would tell the customer, like, listen, how much do you love this car? Because it's about to cost you $4,000 to fix it, or would you rather put $4,000 on a down payment for a new one, and then you just have the TO, right? And the customer's like, oh, that's not a bad idea, right? Where most advisors, even on here, man, they're going to tell you, there's no way I would do it. That hurts my commission. But if you're a smart advisor, you'll look at it and go, okay, well, if I have a relationship with this salesperson, and the salesperson like Karosh was going to give me $500 to try to get, because he's going to go to try to get as much, top dollar as much as possible. I would rather sacrifice the $200-$300 commission on that for a $500 gig and see what I get, right? And I would tell Karosh that. So then that's why I think it's important. But
I'll even sweeten the pot even more. If we take that car in on trade, I have a deal with the service department that whatever was quoted out, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
As long as I know the number ahead of time.
Well, good for you, bro.
Right?
That does not happen.
If I know the number ahead of time, I'll try to work it into the deal, right? Like I'll make sure that I can afford that recon when I take the car in on trade. Now, sometimes you can't, and so I got to cut a few things out, but it's like that keeps that relationship alive. It's like, yeah.
And Ben and I have seen this together. Those cars that we take in that need like a transmission or an engine or what have you, when you guys are writing it up, there's a little gross in there from time to time. And so I've sold multiple cars that have needed an engine or a transmission. Those are sometimes my best gross units, because I'll be like, hey, service said it's going to be $5,000. But then when I flip around as the pre-owned manager, it's only $2,000 for a reconditioned engine, or rebuilt engine. And then we turn around and sell that and make even more money too. So you guys are still getting the work by putting an engine in it or a transmission. Then we're going around and selling it for even more, and we're getting gross that way too.
Yeah.
My best gross was, you probably remember this, me and you did this together. It was a GMC Terrain that needed an engine. It was like 60,000 miles on it. Me and Ben wrote it up together. It's a good one.
Holy cow.
So I'm really annoyed by the appraisal thing. Like, I haven't been able to make that work. So I'm not ashamed to say it. Maybe you can set me straight on this one, but it's almost universally true that when you tell somebody what their vehicle is worth as a trade-in, the number's lower than what they had hoped for or expected.
Oh, always.
That's just always true.
Man?
So that's the thing at this store. At this store, we would go overbook. They were taking cards, so that it was like a slam dunk, because but they had a pack on every car. So they had a $3,000 pack on every car, so that way they could give overbook for the trade. And yeah, I was the only deal I've ever seen.
That makes no sense.
$3,000.
A $3,000 pack. Yeah.
What was this? A Sonic store?
No, it was Dodge.
It was Saab.
And this was
it was Jeep.
This was not, well, it was CDJR, so it was Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. But it was the only store I've seen since like 1989 that had an actual pack sticker on there, and they were getting the pack on the car.
Wait, they had a stick on the addendum when they sold it?
An addendum sticker with a pack.
What?
Yes. I know, it's a shock, right?
That doesn't make any sense. And as you can see here, Mr. Customer, we've itemized here on the buyer's order the additional profit we'll be collecting. So your total's here on the bottom line. That's literally what it was?
And this is in California. We were south of Pasadena. I'm telling you, like back in the 80s when I started, packs were pretty common, but you didn't have TrueCar or any of the other tools that customers have today. to look at price. And then I've seen and consulted and worked with many, many dealers since then, and never saw a pack sticker again until I started at this place. And yeah, they had a pack, and it was crazy. They were getting it. They would close it.
All right. All right. So that store sucks. That doesn't. I don't. They're a unicorn. I don't know how they. Nobody in the real world does that or can. I don't know. Maybe we should try. Let's start putting out.
Hey Ben, someone's asking what pack is. Do you want to explain that real quick?
Well,
sorry.
Well, pack. So pack is additional profit built in whatever. If you own the car for $15,000 and your pack is $1,500. You actually own it for $16,500. You put it on the books for $16,500, right? And so then we've already collected the $1,500 against the cost of the vehicle. So we've made that money even before we sold it, right? We've increased the cost of the car, and now when we sell it for $17,000, we've made $1,500 instead of $3,000. Now those are very generous numbers. I don't know why I went with numbers that high, but some stores have a higher pack because they don't want to pay commission on that amount. Some stores have a low pack.
What do you feel about that?
You just balance it out. You just whatever it is at the store you're at, it has to work for you. And dealers make decisions about where they want to put the money and what they want to use it for. Our store has one of the best pack policies ever. I'm not going to tell you the amount, but we use it to seed a Goodwill fund, and we use it to seed a wholesale adjustment account. So if Brett and I have distressed inventory that gets into trouble, we can take that money and apply it against the cost of certain vehicles. And then we'll realize that back as gross profit. I've never seen any other dealership that does that. It's super generous to sales managers and to salespeople. But where it comes from is the tendency of human beings to work a deal over cost.
Yep.
Right? I'll never sell it for less than I own it for. So I mean, right? And if you could sell it for this and you're still making money, then you will. And so dealers are like, F that. Let's just tell them that we own it for this. And then when they sell it at cost and make zero gross, I still made my money, my $1,200 pack.
Back in the 80s and kind of when pack was invented, it was a way for the owners to ensure that they were getting money, basically.
Right. So anyway,
take that pack and keep
it. It doesn't matter. It's not a sneaky thing. It's just a structuring thing. It's an accounting process of like, how do we want to break apart the money that we have into this car? So just because there's pack, that doesn't change anything about, whether they own the car for too much money or not, whether they overpaid for it. That's, so you got to pay for the car what it's worth. So back to the original question, you say you're going to appraise the car in service, ahead of time the number. No customer has ever looked at their trade value and was like, shit, that high?
Yeah. Woohoo!
Like that's more than that's more than I was thinking. It's never that way. Right? So what we do then, if we don't give it to them in a context of a bigger conversation, then it's like it has the opposite effect. They're like, well, they said it was worth $15,000. They go home, we call them, hey, so what do you think about it? Hey, we're running a special. We could add, they go on kbb.com, they look up the number. They're like, well, that's not any kind of a special deal. That's just basically what my car's worth. And then maybe they have a relationship with us and they shop us, or maybe they go down the street and they're like, well, what do you give me? So now they're treating this like this was our best offer, right? And it was just kind of like hey, just want to give you an idea, like here's about where it is. It's not like, shit, I'm buying a car today. Give me the best offer right now today. I'm buying. It's like, well, that might be $1,000 higher maybe. So they're walking down the street and they're comparing somebody else's right now today, do a deal to our like general ballpark of to inform you. And we've just fired that customer. They're never coming back to us. So I don't know. I got mixed feelings. I feel like if you're going to give and it drives me crazy because we have a banner in our service department that says, you want to know what your vehicle's worth? Ask your service advisor. So what's the service advisor do? They go on Kelley Blue Book and they're like, well, it's like 8 to 12.
Well, that's a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. What are we doing here?
If I'm a service advisor, I'd be like, why would you ask me, man? Don't ask me.
Oh my God.
And it says, ask your service advisor. So what it's supposed to be is like, service advisor calls the pre-owned sales manager, right? And they're like, hey, so what, the customer wants to know what the trade-in's worth. So I got to go down and just like come up with a number and give it to them. And I don't want to mess up their flow. I don't want, and the service advisor doesn't even really want me there. So it's like, what are we doing this for? Why are we doing this? Right. Tell me you got somebody that's interested in buying a car, potentially. If they're potentially interested in buying a car, let's sit down for 10 or 15 minutes and start to figure out what and why and when and how, and then do, I hate the like, hey.
It always turns out to be that a service advisor will come to me to get a free appraisal when I got 5 people lined up in my office. I got 10 deals going. hey, this person was just wondering what their car's worth. So it's slightly annoying that way too.
So okay, so I want to put a caveat on this. So the dealer that I was working for
In the 80s, this was the 80s.
No. This was
The pack started in the 80s.
Jay, 2018.
2018. Okay,
this wasn't that long ago.
I'm gonna go find their website. I'm gonna look them up. I'm gonna call them up.
So
how are you doing this?
That store historically had sold about 35 new cars. They never sold more than 35 new, and they sold about 20 used. So this guy buys this store. Nobody wants this thing. In fact, they gave it to him because nobody wanted it. And he sells 180 new, and he was selling 100 used.
Damn.
With the pack on it. And so the idea was they were not giving that customer any information without getting them to the desk.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, we're going to do an appraisal on it. Oh, come in. When you come in to pick up your car, let's talk about it. And again, we dehorsed them. So now we took the loaner car away, or they got the Uber to drop them off. And so now the salesperson is there to greet them and then pulls them over. And now they're going to put them in a car. They're not leaving there without getting in a car.
I mean,
we have their keys.
It's gotta be a whole system, right? But that's the thing. They had a systematic approach to how to do this thing.
Yep.
They're not just sending off an appraisal value.
Well, so and I think that's terrible when you're going and interrupting a salesperson. You're like, hey, this guy wants to know about his car and trade. No, it has to be a system, and they had a whole method about how they were going to up those customers. And man, they were brilliant at it. I was shocked, honestly, at how well they did, because they were terrible in the service department, terrible. But that part they had worked out. They were genius at that.
Interesting. I don't know. Well, that's been very informative for me. I appreciate your perspective on that.
Yeah, look them up.
So I think
I'll give you the website off air, because I don't know if I want to out them.
It sounds like, in summary, of that particular issue, that the relationship is the key, right? Make a friend in service, take care of them. Mm-hmm. Service advisor, recognize that you're selling just like the salesperson, and that they'll take care of you if you take care of them, right? Mm-hmm. Make it a collaborative thing. Like, you choose when's a good time to do the handoff as a service advisor, and then salesperson has to know, hey, they're not like serving me up a sale, but they do have a sort of a process of like, this is what we've covered, and now here's the transition, and you two friends figure out how to make it work.
And I think in context too of what we were talking about earlier, the going back to the basics, if you're opening back up and you're trying to figure out where your customers were coming from. Well, if you're like most stores in the US, you've been open on the service side, and you've got customers still coming in through there. And so developing a process and a system and making friends and creating collaboration and communication between those two departments might be the key to jump-starting your sales.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I want to do an acquisition sale. I want to do an inventory acquisition sale. So I think I'm going to start this on Tuesday. What's a spiff that gets a service advisor excited? Like, what's an amount that gets them like pumped without being unreasonable?
Half the commission. half the deal, baby. That's what I was gonna ask. It's like all these stores that I've been at, it's always been like, oh, we'll give you $50, we'll give you $100 or whatnot. And I'm like, look, man, I'm about to give you a hot lead. Like, I wouldn't have done that without putting a lot more effort into it. So I'm about to give you a hot lead. Like, you should give me more than $50 to $100. So most advisors will tell you, like, yeah, I'm never going to do that. I'm going to work my paycheck, bro. I'm going to work my commission.
Well, $500 is definitely enough to get it done. You've made that clear.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Would $250 cut it?
Yeah, $250 would probably be a lot better. Absolutely, a $250.
Come on, I'm
telling you, man. Most people just give $50, maybe $100.
Yeah, we do $100. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, 100.
I think between $250 and $5, you're there. At $5, if you nail it at $5, it's a high gross car. Yeah. But if it's a mini, then you got to
What does it matter to them? How much we made on the car? They turned over a customer, we got a deal.
You have to develop that relationship. Because you can't spiff too high if there's nothing on the car.
Why?
Yeah,
a deal's a deal.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to,
I applaud you for that. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I've thought this for years. I mean, the salespeople, the only thing they can control about gross is how much they discount or don't discount. If you just happen to sell a car that's been marked down to cost, it's like, well, that sucks. Hopefully the next one's a whacker and your average is at the end of the month. But like for a service advisor, they really have no control over that. That's just luck. So if we're gonna do luck, why don't we just spin the friggin' wheel? It's $100 and a spin, and the wheel goes from 100 to 400.
I bet you that would get
so
you some
that
traction.
right there, bro,
that would get you
be
some
giving
traction.
Yeah, huge traction.
Yep.
Huge. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a great. Actually,
If they got to spin the wheel, shit, they would be lined up in your office.
G-Man, we're taking that.
Yes.
We're taking that, bro.
I'm in it.
We have an actual
Seriously,
wheel.
I'm gonna call that the Ben and Brett, the B&B special. The B&B special. Let's get you $100 and a spin of the wheel, baby. Let's go. I bet you money, G-Man. Tomorrow, if we go tell Carlos that, he'd be like, "I love that idea. Where'd you get that from?" I'm gonna say we got it from the B&B special.
Everybody,
So special.
Yeah.
Hold
everybody
on, the
loves a
real
spin.
key to the wheel though is to put like big money on it, but you also have to have a bankrupt where they have to give the money back if they hit the bank.
Including the initial 100.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's some chance.
listen, there's a 1 in
That's
20
a good
chance
one.
that you're gonna have to give back the hundy.
There's like a denoyer water bottle. Is one of the prizes. Ooh,
I'll take your
you got
check
the
in. Here's their
Denoyer
water bottle.
We have some good ones. Like another negative one is they have to buy like breakfast next meeting for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Dinner with the owners is one of them.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, we put a
How's
lot
that
of
bad
thought
though?
in the
Dinner
wheel.
with the owners,
No.
like I'd love that.
Yeah,
Right in front
man.
of the owner's face and be like, "Hey, dude, what's going on, man? This is who I am. You know, whatever."
Let's get plastered. Try not to embarrass myself. This is how I know I'm still this is how I measure my trust, right? I know how trusted I am. Once a year we go on a golf outing with the owners and I just get absolutely tanked. And I wake up the next day still employed. So I know that I'm in good standing. I'm solid.
Oh my gosh, that's
One of the owners popped in. No more talk about it.
Who?
Jeff.
Oh, what's up, Jeff? And we've gone like an hour. We didn't do any shout outs. What's up, Billy Wagner, Tony Torres, Hannah, Winker? Hope you're feeling better.
She had a super long question. You want her like I read through it. You want like the short story?
Is it a good question?
Yes.
Of course, it's a good
maybe
question.
for sales. We can hit it next Tuesday if you want.
Sorry, it's a book. No nice way to put it. This deal is a shit show. Yeah, let's put a pin in that one.
Hannah, we'll answer your question on Tuesday.
Hope you're feeling better, by the way. God, I had something I was gonna say. I can't remember what it was. We're getting kind of near the end here, guys. We're kind of winding down.
wow, man, that was a fast hour.
I know. Do you guys want to talk about anything else before we kind of
Um,
start the wrap up? Did you have any
You haven't
other
gone through comments or anything.
like burning topics?
This has been interesting. It's been, I don't know. To me, I always enjoy it. Plus, I'm feeling pretty good about my old fashioned. It's hitting me. So,
Well, that's good. I'm pretty pumped about the law of the line thing. Like I've always known that
I like it.
I've always known that that's a thing, but I've never like really nailed it down like I have now. And I think it's true like everywhere in life. Like think about a personal decision, you know, for your family. Like you want to get a dog, let's say, and she doesn't want a dog. And so like you start bringing up things, you start mentioning things, you know, and then like you do the big ask, and then like there's all these objections about like, well, yeah, but it's going to be potty train, it's going to be expensive, we got to pay for food, we got to this and that, whatever. And if you're just responding to all of those things like it's the first time it's come up, you're just spinning your wheels, right? But if you're like, yeah, well, I know, but we talked about that. Remember, I said I was going to work an extra hour of overtime to pay for the dog food, right? Whatever. It's a stupid example, but, you know, it's like, oh, it's going to crap in the house. Well, we're going to get a shelter dog. Remember, we talked about how we want to get a shelter dog, and those are usually already trained, you know, they came from somebody's house.
so let me ask you this. So let me make sure I understand this correctly. So by the law of the line, you mean that by the time you get to that point, you ask, you've pretty much covered everything that could have been an objection, right? Even if they kind of reworded it, you're like, oh, wait, we kind of already talked about that. Remember?
Right.
Like we did. Is that what that is? Is that
Yeah.
what you're trying to?
So like as you're presenting the car, you point out the yellow sticker. We're a market-based price store. You point out the yellow sticker and you're like, and by the way, we do market-based pricing. I won't go into it right now, but like we change the prices every week and like that's the selling price pretty much, right? So you mentioned that. You move on, you get to the end. You're like, what do you think? You do the business, that's the line. And the customer says, can you do any better on the price? It's really easy for you in that situation to go, Great question. I understand you want to get the best value. Thanks for that. Remember how we talked about market-based pricing? Let me give you some additional details. Here's Kelly Blue Book. Here's kind of where we're at in the market. So long answer to your question, but the short answer is the market-based price is what it is. Now, if you're like me and most other people, this translates into a budget number somehow. Is there a payment on here that works for you, even given that price? Whatever. But if we hadn't had that conversation at all, and you say, can you do any better on the price? And now I'm going to start rolling out like, whoa, we're a market-based price, and we don't really discount. You're just spinning, right? And there's nothing that registers with the customer at that point because it's like new information and it doesn't make it through their brain. You're just a salesman with commission breath trying to close the deal.
Commission.
What I don't understand is why couldn't, it's really interesting because I would be thinking if you're going to do market-based pricing, why wouldn't you mess with that? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being immoral, but it's what the airlines do to us. As soon as we go and look at a price of a ticket, that they've locked our IP address, right? So then when you go back to it,
you'll never see a lower price.
The price. You know that, right? That's just common knowledge. If you don't buy it the first time they present it to you, they give it back to you. So I can just imagine a customer coming back to you. Hey Ben, I don't understand. Like there's $500 more on this ticket now. What's going on with this car? I told you market-based pricing. In a week, it's gone up $500 because now it's worth $500 more. So you didn't get it last time. So now I'm going to sell it to you at $500. I'm sorry, but that's what the price is now. Market-based pricing.
So I actually had this happen this week. So a guy came in on Saturday, looked at a truck. And he's like, hey, I want to think about it. And I did the whole couldn't get him to say yes. I'm like, hey, man, just so you know, I can't buy F-150s right now. I can't replace them. I'm raising the price next week, and they're selling really fast. Dude calls in Monday at 11 a.m. I've already sold that truck for a higher price. It's gone. I have 2 left. I'm like, hey, I got these 2 left. These are the prices of them now. Dude ended up paying $2,000 more for a truck.
Good for you, man.
On Saturday. I didn't have any more trucks. I'm like, hey, these are it. You want a truck? Here's the 2 that are left. You like me? You want to do business with me? I want to get you a fair deal. This is a fair deal now on Monday. You could have taken the other deal on Saturday. And you still bought.
You actually,
we're gonna do that, G-Man. We're gonna do that for every. It's like, oil changes. We're 20. Yeah, but market-based pricing. Jiffy Lube has it at 79, so ours is 79 now.
Cost of a barrel of oil went up.
Well, but you got to have supply and demand though too. The demand was going up and my supply was going down. So
there you go. Yeah.
So
we're running short on oil.
The real question is.
Except for they were selling oil for negative $23 a barrel recently.
I know, that was nuts.
Yeah,
that was nuts.
That's no good.
Okay, so it's not oil. We're gonna try to think something else.
But market-based pricing aside, it's just whatever it is. They're like, I got to think about it. I might not even buy a new car. What do you mean you might not even buy a new car? Well, what's going on with why did you even get in the market for a car? What's the problem you're trying to fix? If that's the first time it's coming up, it doesn't resonate. It doesn't stick with the customer. It's not a productive closing conversation. But if we started the conversation with like, what puts you in the market for a car? Like, oh, this thing's, crap. It's got a noise. I know it's going to go at any point. I got to get something more reliable. Then it comes up after. I got to think, I don't know what do you mean you're not going to buy a car? You told me right at the beginning. I can talk about it. I have the right because it already came up. I don't know if there's like a psychological principle that governs this thing, but if you come across it, let me know what it is. It's a natural.
So the market-based pricing conversation. So let me ask you guys a question. Is what's going on with Hertz rental car? Is that like enter into your consciousness at all while you're buying used cars?
Not for me, no.
No.
It's so easy to beat up a rental car. Like if you have a car that came off lease and someone's comparing your lease, beautiful certified car to a rental car, it's pretty easy to beat those cars up.
Like your car's worth $2,000 more because it's not a rental car.
Right.
Yeah.
Rental car, people are dropping in and out of it. They're banging their luggage. The bumper's all scraped up. You don't know who's in this car. They pound on them. It's just really easy to beat.
So it doesn't matter if they flood the market with 500,000 used cars. It doesn't matter because
they're only going to flood in like Malibus, and they're not going to flood F-150s everywhere because they don't have a bunch of them.
Right.
Be like one type of car really that is going to get flooded, in my opinion.
It's going to be Malibus, and I'm already sitting on 10 I bought $300,000 worth of Malibus before this whole thing started, and now they're still sitting there.
Another thing that I told him was, hey, that's a really bad idea.
Well, who could have called the pandemic, man? If it weren't for the freaking pandemic, they'd be gone right now.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
Your story.
My rental cars are nice, though, because they've been quality reconditioned.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know.
How's those bumpers look on them?
They're
You
not
have those
like.
Akabono pads.
That's right.
But it's also really easy to sell a rental car also.
Hey,
Gotta be positive.
it's the cheapest
And
one.
This came from a rental car company. This is how they make money. They're gonna take good care of it. They're gonna change the oil on time, because if it breaks, they're losing something they're invested in.
You know, most.
Brett is the quintessential salesperson. He can play both sides of the coin.
Well, but
He's like,
that's
that
life,
rental car's
man.
junk. That rental car's perfect.
Yeah.
You gotta know your customer.
Do you buy the damage waiver? Most people don't buy the damage waiver. What does that mean? They take really good care of the car when it's in their
I'm a
possession.
chameleon.
Oh my gosh, this is hilarious.
Oh man.
Come on, you guys do the same thing. You just pick your side of whatever it is and you present your case. Everybody in the world does it. Lawyers do it. Politicians do it.
Yeah.
Everybody's selling all the time.
It doesn't matter what I say as long as the person agrees with it.
All right, that makes pretty good sense.
As long as they feel like they're getting a fair deal and they like what I'm saying, that's what matters.
And if they're smart
No,
enough to
I-
come up with the counter argument, you just go, well, that could be. But, you know, in my opinion,
This is my opinion.
All right.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Good point.
So do you want it?
Right.
I love that. Well, yeah, okay. All right. You make a good point there. Okay.
Hey, man, you know, the most successful, you guys probably identify this, the most successful salespeople that I've ever seen make everything seem like it's no big deal,
Yeah.
especially finance managers. Well, you know, you got this option. Here's a platinum package. This covers everything. You know, down here you got the. I mean, you could go with the discount package. It's just one thing. I mean, I go with the platinum. It's up to you. What do you think?
So I know we're winding down, but I just want to pick your brain on this, because the best finance manager I've ever seen was like, hey, make a really big package at first, and then pick one thing that you don't want to sell them and cross it out and give a reason why they don't need that right now. And it instantly builds rapport with them. Like, hey, I don't know, oil changes. You're getting 2 for free. And, you know, we have 3 in the prepaid maintenance. I'm going to cross this out because you guys don't really need it. But this package right here, do you guys do that? Like,
So, like the 60K. The 60K's got it has an A+ element to it, right?
All day long. Yeah. So I would always, like, when I was looking at a customer's history or whatnot, and be like, look, I want to tell you right now that you're technically, my responsibility and my job is to tell you that you need a 60,000 mile service. But I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I'm looking at the condition of the car right now, and this brake fluid doesn't need to be replaced right now. I would actually wait next time, and then I would do this, and this, and then let's make an appointment at the next oil change to get that brake fluid done as part of this package. So forget about the package. Let's break it down and do what's actually necessarily important for you. And 9 out of 10 times, you're like, thank you. That's exactly what I want to do.
And you just built amazing rapport.
100%. Because what it is it was always my boss or the system. Like, people don't like following the status quo. Like, look, the system is telling you you're supposed to do this, but honestly, I think you could get away with just doing this. And they're like, yeah, just do that. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be like, oh crap. And then, you know, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, so you're winning. But honestly, it was never a tactic where I was trying to do something unethical or whatever. I would literally be like, look, this is how this is, and there's no reason why you should be spending that money for that right now. We should spend it on these other things. You know what I'm saying? Like forget about the brake fluid flush. Let's do the alignment. Look at your tires. So let's take from here, put it here, and then next time you're going to do this. And so the price was still the same. It just always.
See, 90% of the people in the world would think we're scumbags for doing that. Manipulative, mind games, tricks. Right. And the other 10% are salespeople.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Gary froze on us.
They need all that stuff, though.
Gary either is doing a really good job of holding his pose. No, we lost him. You see, he did not move for like a full minute. I'm like, what's he thinking?
I know. I just saw that. That's funny. That was funny. He'll just jump back on. That's funny.
Pop up.
Holy cow.
So you want to wrap it up, Ben?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I got a wife's calling me.
I'm gonna go have some trailer beers, camper beers.
Trailer beers. What are those?
You sit in the camper and drink beers. They're like shower beers.
Oh, that's right. You have the camper.
You never had a shower beer before?
No.
What?
I actually have never had it.
Shower.
It's amazing.
It's like the best buzz ever. Go get in the shower right now and crack a beer.
The can stays so cold, and it's amazing. It's a good job.
Dude, this is. You know what, man? I'm telling you right now, we need to do. And I'm so upset that G-Man isn't here right now. But we're gonna do a live, Life of the Dealership live event somewhere, all of us together in one place. Like we should. I'm telling you, we should do like college game day. Just bam, we're all here. You know what I'm saying? We do it at your place or whatnot. We go to Michigan. And we're like, hey, we're here in Michigan.
Our place.
Bam. Yeah.
Dude, come to Michigan. You guys are the travelers with all the money. Let's make it happen. Come on up.
We don't have used car manager.
Hey, did you get your bill, Buck?
Yes. Gary got it the other day. Dang it, man. Where the hell is he? He got it, and he was like, dude, it was freaking amazing.
See, now you got to come to Michigan to spend it. So that's
that's
your excuse.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that.
There's a box of dots with your name on it.
That's awesome.
Or Good and Plenty if you prefer.
That's awesome.
All right, let's play the exit music and wrap up. Everybody, you've been watching. It's okay. There's 18 people on. What do you guys want?
19.
There's 19, 16, 18. There's 18 people. 17. They're drop. I mean, there's 17 people that are on. Is there?
Where you at, man?
I hate to leave 17 people hanging. You know?
I know. Hey, are you? Tell them, bro.
Do you have a question?
Are you fixed up? Do you have questions?
You're dropping, man. You said goodbye.
Yeah.
The goodbye starting to roll through.
Yeah, it's starting to roll through. All right. Okay.
All
right. Well, we'll cue the exit music.
Bye.
Starting with a flute solo.
Get leather.
This has been Life at a Car Dealership Live with your hosts, Ben and Brett, our fixed ops experts with JDI Coaching, Coach J, and the G-Man. Very grateful to everybody who tuned in tonight and joined our conversation. We love hanging out with y'all. Have a great night, and peace!